Well, folks, I don't know the order in which you watch these videos, but as I record them, this is the last one for this week. I've been doing a lot of recording for my 3 online classes, and I'm getting close to the end of it. Right here was class is getting started. This video is about the weekly topic recap assignments that you'll have to do. Let me put an asterisk on that at the very beginning. You probably picked up on this in a couple of other videos if you've watched all of them so far. When there will be 3 weeks during the semester when you are the lead of a topic, and on that week when you lead the topic, or actually the week following when you lead the topic, everybody else who's not in your leadership team will do this topic recap, but you as the team lead will not turn it in, and you'll get a 0 on it, and we're going to drop the 0. What you'll do is include this in your topic lead assignment. So every week you're doing either the topic lead assignment or the topic recap assignment, but not both. Most weeks you'll do this topic recap. So that's the purpose of this video, is to again clarify when you do it and when you don't, and then if you do it, to talk about what goes into it. What I'm going to do now, as is often the case, is share my screen. First, I'm going to pull up the instructions that are in your Dropbox. And here we go. In a normal week, when you're not the leadership team, you want a short little half-page paragraph, couple of paragraphs perhaps, that you design in Word and then you copy and paste into the text submission box of the assignment screen. And it's going to be 3 main parts. The first part is, what did you learn about last week's topic? So let's say this week we're talking about the strategy behind HR. Next week, you'll do a little recap here where you talk about what you learned about strategy. You'll be talking about generations in the workplace, but you'll be doing a recap on the strategy from the previous week. Then in week 3, we'll be talking about a new topic, but you'll do your recap about the generations. Hopefully you understand that. Your recap is always a week behind what we're studying right now, because you're thinking back and reflecting on what you learned. So part 1, maybe paragraph 1, is what are some things that you learned about this topic, and whether you went into it with a particular idea and that idea kind of evolved or changed. Part number 2, if your boss were to ask you about this, for example, in this case, as I record this video, we will be talking about strategy. If your boss were to ask you why it's important that HR play a strategic role, what would you say? And then number 3, if you don't, if you're not in a position where HR plays a strategic role and your boss asked you, how do we, okay, I understand, your boss says, I understand from your answer to number 2 that it should play a strategic role. How do we make that happen? Part number 3, how would you respond to that? How would you advise or counsel the CEO regarding this topic? We may get a lot of similar answers on this one, but as we get into other topics like ban the box or body art or minimum wage, there's going to be a lot of different perspectives on how the company should prepare for this thing going forward. So I'm interested to read, what did you learn? And then how would you put it into the real world of giving advice or counsel towards your senior leadership team? Remember, you as HR are the experts in these fields. You're looking at SHRM and other places like that to get an idea of what's going on and to formulate a strategy for what you should do. And your ability to communicate to the CEO, why is this important and what do we need to do about it, is a good practice for when you get into human resources. So in your topic recap, when you're not the topic lead, again, when you are the topic lead, this is part of a bigger assignment for you. But in a normal week, a short little 1-page, maybe 3/4, I don't know, paper, what did you learn? Why would you say this is important? And how would you counsel the CEO to begin to explore this, to implement it into the company? All right, I am going to stop sharing here real quick, go back to my recordings here and share one more time to pick up our rubric. It's only worth 10 points, but it's an easy 10 points. The bulk of it is, what did you learn? If you do a really good job of telling me what you learned, and I'm looking for several sentences, not just a couple of little bullet point things or little phrases separated by commas in one sentence, but get into what you learned. 2 points on how well you did in terms of explaining to the CEO why this is important, or saying, I would honestly tell him it's not important, but tell me why. 2 points on how you would counsel the CEO on how to implement this. So being able to put this into real world scenarios, part 2 and part 3, is worth equally what you did learn that you didn't already know. So 4 points on what you learned, 4 more points on how you would apply this in the real world. And then grammar and spelling. I'll overlook a little bit, but if you have a real hard time with writing, you might want to get somebody who you really respect in terms of writing ability to look over this thing before you submit it, because the difference between great and good, it may not be much in your mind. It may be a big deal in my mind. I don't want many mistakes at all. If nothing else, through this course, you ought to practice on your writing to where you can write, to where you can really articulate what you're saying, and you can do it in a way that folks don't focus on mistakes rather than your content. All right, let's stop sharing here. Let's minimize that. Let's go back to the recording. Short video, hopefully, has been very helpful on what do you do when the week is over and you're thinking back. It's going to be important that you're active during the discussion, but I want you to stop after it's all said and done, all the discussion board is closed, and think about what did you learn. There's no point in doing these things week to week, these topics, if you're not learning something and growing. So think back about what you learned. Think back about how you grew. That's it for now. Questions? Ask Dr. Grimes' discussion board. Otherwise, let's get some really good discussions this year. And as I think I said in the discussion board, it's okay to disagree with each other. When we talk about minimum wage, you may believe very strongly that is a dumb idea, and she may believe very strongly, or he may believe very strongly that that's a good idea, and we've got to be able to talk. You're going to be successful in HR if you can, number one, think about what you believe is the right answer and express that in a way that we don't create arguments, but we create discussion. And if you're willing to listen to the other side and think about maybe there's not an either or, maybe there's something in between. That's going to be important in these discussions. So reflecting on stuff and applying stuff is important. That's got it for now. See you later.